everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dami. If you're seeing my face for the very first time, I am a YouTuber based in Brisbane, Australia. In today's video, I'm going to be filming like Q&A. This is my first ever Q&A, but it's going to be a Q&A slash get ready with me because I have other video to film today, but I don't have the luxury of time to film the video afterwards. But so yeah, I'm going to be doing my makeup. My makeup is very basic. I'm not a makeup artist, so don't take this as a makeup tutorial or whatsoever. But yeah, I'm going to be doing my makeup and answering all your questions. If you're not following me on Instagram, please follow me on Instagram. I put up a Q&A tag or something on my Instagram account, and people sent me lots of questions which we are going to be going through today. So yeah, let's get ready. First, let me apply. Before I read the first question, let me apply this baby skin thing I've been using since forever. I just use it once in a while. So I'm going to apply first on my skin. Oh, and this beautiful mirror I got from my bridesmaid pack from my friend's wedding. I'm sure you saw that video as well if you've been watching me for a while now. Okay, so that's done. And I'll read the first question. This is my first Q&A, so just manage whatever you see here. Let me go to the questions on IG, how to find it, because I've not been in the mood to record for the longest time, but today I'm like, nope, I must put out a video this week. I think for almost 2 weeks now I've not had any video up since the 18th of September. Today is 1st of October or 2nd of October. I want to film Q&A. Okay, yeah, so I have the questions, and I feel some people drop theirs in my DM and I copied it somewhere. Anyway, that may stop rambling. The first question I'm going to be answering today is, which is more lucrative, audit or general accountant job in Australia? Okay, so I'm going to be talking through it as I do my makeup. So which is more lucrative? Truth be told, accounting jobs, like industry, is more lucrative than. And then I'm using this foundation. I bought it in Nigeria and it's very good. I really like it. I just need a little bit to go through. To be fair, accounting job is more lucrative than audits. That's the truth, and I think that's the same in anywhere else you go to, like even in Nigeria. Accounting job is more lucrative, but the thing is, for people like us that came in, it's hard to get the accounting jobs if you don't have Australian experience. You know what I mean? So the easiest way you can come into Australia is coming as an auditor if you have audit experience, and then from there, once you get your permanent residency or once you're tired, you can then move to industry, which was the general accounting jobs. So that's just what it is. And with Australia as well, it is very hard for you to come in as an accountant. It is hard for you to get permanent residency as an accountant as well. So your best bet is to come in as an auditor if you have audit experience, and then just go through the ladder, get your PR, and then you can go into general accounting. But yeah, the answer to that question is general accounting is more lucrative. They pay you more. With audits, there's a benchmark of what the salary should be, so you can't really exceed some of those things. So yeah, general accounting is more lucrative. So the next one is building a house in Australia. I'm asking because I'm planning on relocating with my husband soon. So with building in Australia, so this is what I know. I don't know what other people know, but currently, since COVID, it's been a very difficult venture for people to build houses. And the reason being that during COVID, most of these builders, so you know the way you build houses, you lock in contracts for the cost of them to build a house. So what most major builders in Australia experienced during COVID is the prices of things increased, and they are not able to recoup the cost from the customer because they already had a lock-in contract with them at a certain amount. Maybe for instance, they locked in a contract to build you a house at 500,000, and when COVID happened, cost of everything went up. There was shortage of skills, and like all of those things happened, right? And then their total cost now to build a house is 700,000. How would that builder make up for the 200,000 difference? So because of that reason, mainly because of that reason, a lot of building companies collapsed during and they are still collapsing till now. So it's quite difficult to build now, but it's not something that is not doable. People have done it. I've seen people do it, but most people at this point, if you are risk averse, you just rather buy a ready built house and you keep moving from there. But yeah, You can build once. I know that very soon all of these things will stabilize, but although at the moment those building companies, like those big ones, are struggling to find their feedback because of the loss they've made. We know people who have been building for the past 2 years and still their house is not completed just because of that one event. So yeah, you can build a house when you're in Australia. That's that one. The next question is saying, is it possible to own a property in Australia? Is it advisable? And how do most Nigerians go about building a house? Well, I don't know how these things work, but this one too is still about building a house. And funny enough, like they're from different people. Is it possible to, oh, it's from the same person, sorry. Is it possible to own a property in Australia? Of course, it is possible for you to own a property, but depending on the visa you are on, if you are on a student visa or a temporary resident visa, like we are on, it is quite difficult because you're going to be paying higher fees. So most people would usually wait till they get permanent residence before they build a house in Australia. But yeah, you can own a property in Australia. You get a loan. Of course, if you are working, you can show your proof of fund and like proof of income and everything. You are able to own a house in Australia. It's quite easy and straightforward. It's not that hard. How do most Nigerians go about building? Someone asked me this question this weekend. Most Nigerians, I think because of where we are from, we love to build, right? We love to build. But because of the whole saga with builders, a lot of people are just taking a step backwards. Some people are just chilling, waiting for things to come to normalize, and then they can pick it up. But most Nigerians here, they love to build their homes. They don't like to buy like ready-made homes. That's what I've observed, my own personal opinion as well. Hey, I don't have my glasses, so I'm struggling. Maybe I'll quickly finish this makeup and continue with my glasses. Okay, so I've applied my foundation. Ooh. Okay, that's enough. My makeup is very simple. I'm done. I'm going to do my lips. Very simple. I'll use powder at the end. Let me see if I can read the next question. So the next question is, would you advise someone to move to New Zealand or Australia as an African immigrant? Please keep me anonymous. No, I'm not even saying anyone's name. So with Australia and New Zealand, of course, by any means, Australia is way to go. I will not lie. I remember when I was trying as well, I got New Zealand offer, but Australia is better than New Zealand because you even find, for me, I say the simplest answer is you find a lot of New Zealanders in Australia. But if you're trying to immigrate, like your Australia is not working out, trust me, New Zealand is a starting point. I would advise for you to try New Zealand, and then because if you get permanent residence in New Zealand, you can always move to Australia. You don't have to do anything extra, right? So if Australia is not working for you, on that note, you can try New Zealand. But if Australia is working out, sister, please stick to Australia. But if Australia is not working out, go to New Zealand. It's not that bad, but of course it's not as good. You can't compare the economy of Australia to New Zealand. So on that note, I think I've answered that question. If you have any other questions, please let me know. If you are to choose between Melbourne and Adelaide, which will you pick? Honest opinion. If I'm to pick between Melbourne and Adelaide, I would definitely pick Adelaide. Reason being that I feel like Adelaide has more opportunity to get permanent residency. Okay, so if you're coming in new, like as a student, for instance, Adelaide has other graduate scheme for you to be able to get permanent residence as against Melbourne. Melbourne is overpopulated. But if you're coming in with permanent residence, I would advise you go to Melbourne because there are a lot of opportunities, a lot of companies in Melbourne. Yes, a lot of companies in Melbourne. People in Melbourne easily like get jobs. Adelaide, they have very limited number of jobs because it's like a growing state. Adelaide is still growing while Melbourne is well established, and you see a lot of companies to work with in Melbourne. So that is that one. I'm coming. Let me quickly apply my eyeshadow. Even sometimes I wonder why I apply eyeshadow, because at the end of the day, I'm still going to wear my glasses, right? Oh gosh, damn me. Anyway, just to make my eye look different, to define it. I'm not using mascara or eyeliner today because I don't think I need it. So that's that one. And then finally my powder. My makeup is done. Easiest makeup ever. Don't do too much. And then I had my powder. Okay, so now let's focus on this. I can wear my glasses now. Oh no, wear my hair as well, so I can be looking pink. Yeah. palette. Okay, so I'll just pick up my. Okay. How do I look? I look good, right? Okay, now let's focus on this Q&A and stop all this multitasking. Is not for me. I thought I'll be able to do like get ready with me, and it's not for me. I can't focus. If you have to choose between Melbourne, yeah, I've answered that. The next one is, please, what advice will you give to students coming for this February intake 2023? I did a video of first things to do when you get to Australia, but my advice for you if you're coming into Australia as a student is, please ensure you are going to a state where your course is needed, because I really struggle to understand why I'll pay so much as a student and not be able to get permanent residency. Remember, the education fee or cost in Australia is very expensive, and at the end of the day, if I'm coming in and paying that much, I want to be guaranteed, like have a level of comfort or guarantee that I'll be able to get permanent residence in whatever state I'm going to. Having said that, for instance, I was telling someone yesterday that Queensland is a no-no for me because it's quite competitive here and a lot of people are moving to Queensland, so the opportunities are slim. As a student, I would rather move to either Western Australia, Tasmania, South Australia, like those states that they have high their location is high, not as high as Sydney or Melbourne, but at the same time there are a lot of opportunities for you to get permanent residency in those states. So that is my key advice. Please ensure if you're coming into Australia as a student, you think of your permanent residency route. Someone told me someone came in to study accounting. I'm like, what? How can you come into Australia to study accounting? It is competitive. It is one of those courses where it is highly competitive and like everyone knows about it. So make sure you do your research very well, that whatever you're coming in to study, there's opportunity for you to get permanent residency after your studies. That's the golden advice I'll give anybody. Then if you're thinking of things to do when you get here, please watch my video. I will link it up here as well. I did a video of first few things to do immediately you arrive in Australia. I will link that up there. The next one is, between La Trobe University and University of South Australia, which would you prefer? I don't know what La Trobe University is. I don't know so much about school because I didn't come in here to school, but please do your personal research. South Australia sounds like I don't know where La Trobe University is to even start with, but if it's South Australia, the only thing in my mind is I'm thinking of permanent residence and I will just go there. But I don't know if La Trobe is also in South Australia, but I don't know so much about school because I didn't come here as a student. The only thing I know for like students or whatever is I want to go to a state where I can get there's a graduate scheme for me to get PR once I'm done with my studies. So the next question is, where in Australia would you rather live besides Brisbane and why? I have only lived in Brisbane. And I love it so much here. That's what I tell people. I love it here and I'll continually live here. I don't think there's any other state I want to live in. I know the thought of Melbourne came in, and one is because I have my brother there. My immediate younger brother lives in Melbourne, and two is because I feel like people who live in Melbourne make lots of money, but it is cold there, so I would rather take my Brisbane and just keep it moving. So I've never lived anywhere else. I went to Melbourne once and it was so cold. I've been to Sydney as well. They are good. Like, it's Australia at the end of the day. I love it here. That's just it. Because at the end of the day, I get my almost Nigerian weather or even hotter here during summer. So I love it in Brisbane. And yeah, that's it. Are snakes and spiders truly everywhere in Australia? What's your experience with them? Are snakes? I've seen snakes only once since I came into Australia. It's going to be 3 years this month. Yippee! And like, yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so pumped. I have seen snake only once, and that's because this particular family we visited, this was a play date I went with my son. They live in like an acre, like they bought acres of land, and so their house is just in the middle of bush. You know what I mean? So that's why you see snake. But yeah, there's no snake everywhere. People exaggerate. I've seen snakes in Australia more on social media than I've seen physically living here in Australia. So there's no snake and spiders. I don't know. I've never seen spider. I see spider, but just where else is. I've seen more snakes living in Nigeria than living in Australia, so I don't know where all of this is from. But there are snakes. I'm not saying there are no snakes, but it depends on where you live and where you go to. Where I live, where I go to, I don't see snakes. I see people saying they see snakes in their roof and all of those things in Australia, but I have not experienced any of those. So snakes and spiders should not be the reason why you're not moving to Australia. Trust me, they are not everywhere. The next question. How is it living in Queensland, specifically Brisbane? It is beautiful. It is good here. The people are nice. I've had wonderful experience. I don't have any regrets moving here, because at the end of the day, at the beginning of my recruitment process, I actually applied to Sydney, and then the Sydney office said they don't have a capacity for me, family of 4. I think that was not in their budget, so they told me to hire one Brisbane. At the end, I was like, I don't even know anywhere. I don't even know Brisbane. I've never heard of Brisbane. I only know Sydney and Melbourne at the time before I came here. So I'm like, oh yeah, give me anyone. This guy just wants to jackpot. I don't really care. But I'm so grateful I live in Queensland. The weather here is good, as I've said. Like, everything here is just peaceful and nice. I love it here, and I will not have it any other way. I visited Sydney and Melbourne, like I said earlier, but I will still not have it any other way. I just love it here, and yeah, it's bliss. The next question is, how do you feel about your children being Australian culturally? The culture here is good. I'll choose Australia over the US and over the UK any day, anytime. And yeah, I'm happy training my kids here. I have no form of concern whatsoever. But as parents, sometimes, yeah, you think, I feel like they are more outspoken than what I would have like raised in Nigeria, which is fine at the end of the day, but I'm able to like still mold them to what I want back home. They spend most of the time with us at home, right? Just a little bit of time with them, and I'm able to, when they like display certain attributes, I know they've picked that up either from school. I'm feeling that my hand is white. Okay, it's not because I keep looking at them like, so I realized that they've picked certain attributes either from school or wherever they've mixed with people, and I'm able to still tell them, yeah, they do this. For instance, not to say tattoo is bad, but then they come back and say, oh, this person has tattoo, this person has this. I'm not saying tattoo is bad. This is my personal preference for my kids and my family. I do not like tattoo, and it's against what I stand for. So I need to explain to them where we are coming from as a parent, and like our own understanding and why we don't support them having tattoos. But yeah, things like that. So they come back, say some things, and like, we are very open and free in this home. So they'll say it and then we'll correct them. But overall, it's been fantastic. We don't have any reason any concerning issue that have happened since we got here and then mixing with other people. Another thing is, for us, one thing we did was, so my son, when we came in, was of school age, so he started school. He was going to a public school, and we got to a point where my husband said, oh Dami, I think I want these kids to move to private school, at least a Christian school, just to also, you know, protect the type of people they mix with. Public school is free, private is you pay, and it's almost a premium sometimes. So it's not going to be bobero, like it's not going to be for everybody. And whoever who is willing, any parents who is willing to go the extra mile to pay so much to put their child in a private school, have a level of morals, or I don't know if it makes sense, but that was just our mindset. And then we took them to private school, and trust me, we are forever grateful for the opportunity to be able to afford it, and also just happy at the way the things they learn. Like, it's a Christian school, so it tells you a lot. So no, we don't have any concerns. We are just, if anything at all, we are grateful that we ended up here. Remember, I gave birth to these kids in the US, but I got to a point where I wasn't willing to raise them in the US because of everything that we all know. So raising them in Australia gives me peace of mind, and I am happy about it. No concerns whatsoever. Even in Nigeria, there are still people they would have mixed with that would be concerning, right? Because we have different backgrounds. So if there's anything at all, we'll talk about it and we explain to them, this is where we stand as your parent, and we move past it. So yeah, I have no concern raising my kids in Australia. How old were your children when you relocated? My kids were, I think my daughter was 4 at the point, and my son was 5. No, 3 and 4, 3 and 5. 3 and 5, they are 2 years apart, right? So 3 and 5. So my daughter was 3 years old. She was not of school age, so she had to stay at home for 2 years before she started school. And then my son was 5 years old, right at school age, so he started school immediately we relocated. Yeah, so that's the question. Okay, so I think this video is going to be too long, but I have about 3 questions from DM. I'm No, it's not 3. It's getting it's a lot. I hope I'm able to quickly wrap it up here. I'm getting a job with visa sponsorship for a role that is not on the occupation. How can one go about this? Getting a job with visa sponsorship, trust me, the only way to go about it is reach out to companies, check LinkedIn, check Indeed, Seek, and all those things for job vacancy and apply. So far there's visa sponsorship posted with the role. That's it. I've done a lot of video about how to get a job in Australia. I hope that helps. If you can watch them in details, trust me, they will be very helpful and will answer that question. Secondly, do you think that working for the same company in Australia as you were in Nigeria was an advantage? 100%, it was an advantage. I would not lie, and I'm so grateful I could get a job with the same company, because if you've been doing the same thing for the past, I've been working with my firm for the past 9 years, the same firm in Nigeria and the same firm here. It was an advantage, and I'm grateful. So I tell people, because the methodology did not change, so what I needed to learn when I got here mainly was the culture and how to manage the people, which is a big thing for them. So I was not trying to learn 2 things at the same time. So I was just learning culture and how to have the communication skills and all those soft skills that is required here compared to where I'm coming from. So the methodology and the nature of work was different. It was the same. So I didn't have to learn that. So yeah, it's an advantage. Hi Dami, hope you're well. In case you haven't filmed the okay, here are the few questions the person has. Are there African churches in Australia? Yes, there are a lot of African churches here. There's Redeem, there's Deeper. I attend Deeper Life, and that's the church I was born and bred. If you don't know, I'm a Deeper Lifer from birth. And there's Redeem. We attended Redeem initially. We didn't know there was Deeper Life when we came in, so we attended Redeem for a while and then realized there was Deeper Life, and we moved back to our original home church. There's a lot of church. There's Winners. There's a lot of church, and there are even church owned, like maybe not popular African church owned by Nigerians or Africans in Australia. I know there's Ever Winning, and I know a lot of people attend that church. That's one church I still want to visit. It's on my list. Ever Winning. Yeah, I know a lot of people attend Ever Winning, but there are lots of African church. It shouldn't be anything of concern. Number 2, what's the hardest thing about being on 482 visa? The hardest thing being on 482 visa is one thing, is your uncertainty, and living in uncertainty is hard, and some employers just use it as a weapon. Not my employer, in case my employer is saying it, thank you already. I'm joking, but I've read a lot of horror stories on Facebook, and some employers just use this thing as a weapon because they know that without them you cannot get permanent residency, right? So they give people tough times. So it's living in uncertainty and the fact that you cannot work with more than one employer. I know some people want to. I think I received a DM this week to say, when you're on 482, can you work with other employers? No, you cannot. You're just working with that particular employer, and the only thing is for you to be, you can transfer your sponsorship to another employer but in the same field. So I know people who have changed, like for instance, we're in the audit field, right? I've changed from on audit firm A to audit firm B, but it's still the same field and it's still the same ball game. So it's just the uncertainty of what the future holds. So that's the hardest thing. I can do a Q&A, not Q&A, I can do a full video on the pros and cons, like even the cons of 482 visa, and it's not going to end because it's a lot. And I think I have a 482 visa video, I'm not sure, but yeah, that's it. The main thing is it's the uncertainty and the weapon, like how some employers use it as a weapon. The next question is, have you made friends with other African people in Queensland? Oh wow, that's a good question. Have I made friends? Okay. Oh gosh. Oh, okay. Have I made friends? Not really. I'll be very honest. Not really. Because the way it works is, it depends on where you go for you to make friends, right? YouTube have exposed me to certain people now that just on social media, I just see them on Instagram and we say hi, hello, but not friends. Like, I take the word friend very seriously, that I don't use it loosely. So I don't have any friend in Australia, I would not lie. With other Africans, I don't have any African friend in Australia. That's the truth. But that's because I've not gone the extra mile to have one. I've tried to in the past from people I met in church, but I don't think I would not call them my friends. I have several acquaintances that are Africans, but I do not have any friend that is from Africa in Australia. That's the truth. But that's because I didn't put in effort. I would literally prefer to sit down on my phone and talk to my friend who is in London. I have just, yeah, so, and then I have people who are not African friends. I have a very good friend of mine, her name is Neha. I think I've featured her on this channel before. She's not from Africa, but yeah, she's my very good friend in Australia. But aside that, I do not have any African friend in Australia, sadly. But that's all on me. It's not because, yeah, it's not because people are bad. I have my horror stories with Africans in Australia. I'll do a video about that, but it's all on me. It's not anybody. But yeah, I do not have friends. I do not have African friends in Australia. I have acquaintances, lots of them, but friendship, no. What kind of business can one get into as side hustle in Australia, or what skill can one acquire back home before moving to Australia for a side hustle? This is besides my professional career. There are a lot of things. This is the last question I'll be taking because yeah, I think this is about almost 20 minutes. There are a lot of things you can do. I see people selling hair. Trust me, YouTube have exposed me like this few. I've been on YouTube since January. This is October. This last 10 months, I've seen a lot of people doing a lot of things. Than before that, I was just locked up in my own space, go to work, come home, and I'm just in my house with my kids. But I've seen a lot of people like following other Nigerians in Brisbane. I've seen people selling hair, people making clothes. Like, shout out to them, and I'm so impressed. I'm like, oh my gosh, these people are doing well for themselves. People are doing, yeah, I've seen makeup artists. There's several things you can do, trust me. But I don't know how they are thriving because it's something I've not done or I've not ventured into. I really cannot say, but there are lots of things you can do. There are lots of, you can sell food. That one I know is very lucrative. It's something I ventured into and it was very lucrative until, yeah, people started passing their boundaries with me, and I don't know what that. People can be very, very interesting. So yeah, so their food is something, if you're selling food, you would sell. Like I used to literally get orders every weekend back to back. Someone still called me yesterday. I'm like, no, let it be next weekend. But food is something that I would sell. I don't know, that's the only thing I've tried, and I cannot really say for something I've not tried. So that will be all for this video. Maybe I'll do a part 2 to answer any other questions I've not answered. And if you have any question, please drop it in the comment section. I will do well to take it and then respond. I usually would respond to most questions if you drop them in the comment section that I have answers to. And also, if you're not following me on Instagram, please follow me, because that is where some of the tea is, you know, and that's where I even dropped the Q&A tag for people to drop their questions. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.